Okay, welcome to the Celtics podcast. Jeff Goodman is on assignment covering the college game once again. Gary Tanguay, Bob Ryan here. Okay, so for the Celtics, you listen to sports radio, Bob, and it's just so entertaining. Everybody wanted Marcus Smart gone. Everybody wanted a big deal. We all want something to change instantly. And then at the end of the day, Schroder goes, Richardson goes, Freedom with a bunch of other players. Enes Freedom goes. So Derrick White comes from the Spurs, and our old buddy Daniel Theis comes from the Rockets. Your thoughts on what the Celtics did?
I have to confess that Derrick White has flown under the Bob Ryan radar completely.
You're not the only one.
And when I investigate Derrick White, once I heard about the trade yesterday, to find out that we are getting a guy who averaged 15 points a game last year, averages 14 points a game this year, shoots 34-4 from the floor, 3-point range right now. Also, oh, by the way, 5 assists a game. He's a 6'4" guy who apparently can guard as well as play. He's a solid basketball player, and he's got the Popovich / Ime Udoka imprimatur. Ime Udoka is intimately familiar with him, and obviously wanted this guy on his team. But I just have not, down. San Antonio had fallen off out of our sight. They're no longer with, after all those years in playoffs, suddenly they'd gone backwards in the standings. We haven't paid any attention to them, at all the last 2 years. So I haven't really. So I didn't know. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. Josh Richardson was playing well for them, but you got to give up something to get something. And obviously the brass, Brad and Ime really I feel that this is a guy that can really help in the situation. Dennis Schroder is now on his 4th team in 4 years.
Right. Well, yeah, he was,
and we knew he was Mr. Expendable. Everyone knew that. And thank you very much, Dennis. There was a 37-point game. I saw it. I was there up close and personal, but careless with the basketball, right. He led the league in careless, head scratching turnovers, as far as I'm concerned. He's going to be around. He'll have his moments, but no big loss at all. And getting Daniel Theis back, he was a useful auxiliary player, and he knows that. I don't know. I can't say knows the system because we got a new coach, and I'm not sure what the system is. They said, but I think he's compatible with his teammates. I think they're happy to have him. Obviously, they're happy to have him back. And when he went away, at first it had to do with salaries and all that stuff. So but they didn't do anything blockbustery. Well,
I don't think they can, Bob.
No, I didn't.
No, I don't think they can. Okay, so they're under the cap, like $2.5 million. Excuse me. Wick was taking some grief on the radio because they said he got a rebate check. Whatever. I don't buy that. I think the Celtics have spent money. I think a lot is on Wick right now because of the team has to rebuild and they have to become a contender again. And that to me is going to be up to the owner, because I don't know if Brad's the guy. I don't know if Udoka's the guy. And I don't know if this roster is going to be able to do it. But I don't think you can call the Celtics cheap. I just think that's ridiculous. I think that ownership has done that ownership has done everything they can to try to win. Now, having said that, I don't think anybody wants Marcus Smart. I don't think there's a deal to be made out there that's going to make them Philadelphia. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just not there.
Well, all right. It's kind of complicated by the fact that they're messing up the story here by playing so well lately and playing well against bad teams. Now, this is what I've been saying. I've been saying this for a couple of visits here. Give me a good month, guys, and then maybe I'll talk. I'm not gonna put my hand on that stove right now to say, oh boy, this is suddenly a team that's going to make noise in the playoffs. No, not yet. But they have turned it around. And they're at least beating the teams they should beat. Then there were some disastrous losses early in the season that had us just screaming because how you lose to that team, Well, they're not losing to those teams anymore. In fact, they're beating the crap out of them.
Which they should.
All right. One of the reasons that over and above the Brown and Tatum and some they had a recent game that each had 30, and they seem to be figuring it out. They go, Smart is doing what I raised my hand when I among critics said he couldn't do. He's actually. God, he looks like a point guard at the moment.
Well, maybe they reached him. Maybe Udoka reached him.
There's games where he's taking 6 shots. He used to take 6 bad threes. We all know that, right?
I know.
but he's not. Is some light bulb gone off? And he's going to give it to you at the other end. The things that make him special in my mind are still there on the defensive end. So if this is the way he's going to play against good teams for the rest of the year, I'm okay with that.
Well, I am too. I mean, we know he has the ability. That's the frustrating thing with Marcus.
But the mentality, I still never bought into the idea that you would call him a point guard, and do we have to slot him, but he's got the ball, he's making the decisions, and he's making good ones lately, I think.
Well, I think also, though, right now for the Celtic fan base, which even though we're members of the press, Bob, we are card-carrying members, I believe, is that as long as they compete, and if they go into the playoffs and can, cause some problems, to me, with this roster, they're never going to be Philadelphia. They're never going to be Milwaukee. They don't have an Embiid. They don't have the Greek. I mean, Tatum and Brown just aren't those guys. But I think they're a level below. But they get into the playoffs and they start playing like this. Maybe they pull off some upsets. Maybe they make, the Celtic fans right now will show up. They show up. I mean, people get interested if they're the underdog.
They've been showing up faithfully throughout all this. Are they, all right, when we put it away, do you put them on are they yet, or are you expecting them to be on a level with Miami and Chicago? How about that? That's the next.
Yes.
That's where they got to be. If they're not at least that good, then, I think they are that good.
I do too, Bob.
I know Miami.
I do too.
By percentage points, Miami, as we speak, I believe, has the best record. Has been going back and forth, and hey, we got to throw Cleveland in there now. That Cleveland has improved quietly, subtly. They're in that mix. That's the new tier. Tier. They're on that tier. Miami, Chicago, Cleveland. Okay.
Right.
Tier.
I'm with you.
All right. Well, because I don't think that those teams or anybody have to be afraid of. I respect Chicago's got a couple of players I love.
Yeah,
you have to love DeRozan's having a.
But then you come to the point. If you're Wick, it's like, okay, great, we're here, but what do we do to be filling in Milwaukee?
Well, I agree. I get lucky
That's
in
the tough spot. That's life in the NBA, right?
Well, this is life, and this is, this is where the Patriots are. Now they're no longer what they were, and they're going to have similar questions to ask. How are we going to compete with Buffalo? What are we going to do about Josh Allen? So in our sense, the Josh Allen is Antetokounmpo, and it's Embiid. Embiid. I'm trying to think seriously, Gary. Think about this. I mean, I'll give you a homework assignment for next week, right? Think about it. Who's the last player that tortured the Celtics as regularly as this guy is doing? Of course, LeBron has always had his way with this.
Was McAdoo?
Well, McAdoo, but Cowens was it was a fair match.
Cowens, yeah.
Michael,
Well, Jordan did it. I mean, Jordan had 63 and lost.
You might have to go to, I know, and you have to go to Michael, but Joe Embiid is a first-rate, historic, and I've been following the Celtics closely now for 52 years, as historic first team, all tournament, all tournament team, all opponent team right now. He's playing against them as well as Kareem would play at times, and I'm telling you, this guy is the year he's having. I mean, he terrifies me,
To wrap it up, Bob, are the Celtics better?
Well, once again, I'm anxious to watch Derrick White play since I've never paid any attention.
I'm going to say a little bit.
I'm going to trust that there's a reason why they went after this particular guy.
Yeah. I mean, White knows White because of the White Udoka thing, and I think Schroder just was.
I'm not worried about Schroder.
I think he's addition by subtraction.
And the Langford. By the way, let's just have a final coda on Langford. Injured when they got him, injured as he leaves. He played 96 games, I think, total in his time with the Celtics. It was a pick that didn't work out. All right, one more thing, and we wrap, and that is: do you have any reasonable hope that we will ever get a consistent benefit from Nesmith? Or do we just
no.
Give it up.
I don't know. I don't believe in any of those. God, I get confused. I get confused to the,
I'm so disappointed.
yeah, no, like Neesmith and Langford
I mean, what is he like?
guys, you know, all those guys that Danny picked in the 20s or whatever, no.
Well, 14 was Neesmith, and I was
Yeah,
so
no,
excited
15 was Neesmith.
because he was the best on paper, Garrett. And that draft, he was the best shooter. He shot 52% from the floor in a conference loaded with great athletes, SEC. And I was really excited. I thought they stole something. And then he comes in and he plays defense great the first year. Then he has a good offset. I'm disappointed. What did he get? 8 for 40, I think.
I think what really hurt Danny was the fact that the bench players and the new kids. I'm not talking about like obviously, he drafted Jason Tatum. That was a great move. But you know, all the other draft picks, these kids that would come in, they haven't developed into anything. There's no support. There's no bench.
No, I mean, I thought Pritchard was a steal for a while too, and I'm not going to give up on him yet. But I don't know what I'm disappointed too. I'm really disappointed in Neesmith. Well, that's a deal. That the answer to your question, I think they are probably better. I like having
I think they're a little better, Bob.
But I need to have a full-fledged education on Derrick White because he's eluded my sights. And going back to college, Colorado, I noticed so I'm looking forward to seeing him play and see what he's all about. But I'm going to trust that there was a reason why they wanted that guy. Now we were all talking all the way along. We all knew we wanted a shooter, right? Definitely wanted a shooter. I don't know if he's the shooter. Buddy Hield's name has been thrown around. He got moved. He wasn't. So is White going to fulfill that role? I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, that's your homework assignment. Bob Ryan, always a pleasure. Jeff Goodman is on assignment covering the college kids. And thanks for watching the Celtics pod.
Looking for that shooter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. Well, Goodman might find him.
Yeah.
All right. See you, Bob.